I knew probably from a young age that I wanted to get into construction. It just fascinated me. My dad had had summer jobs in construction, and so I kind of learned a little bit about it from him. I went to college. I went to an engineering school. So I just kind of navigated through that and said, okay, well, I'll be a civil engineer. That's the closest thing to construction. And then I went into the Army and spent 5 years in the active Army. And so then I was done with my commitment from college and got my first job in construction, learning how to build a house. Went into commercial from there as the recession hit, worked for a developer for a couple of years. And it kept kind of climbing the corporate ladder in construction. And about 3 years ago, I said, all right, so I saved enough money. Why not start my own construction company? So I did that, took the roofing license exam, and kind of branched from there into being a full-scale construction firm with custom home building, renovations, and a pretty significant roofing division. I wanted to create a company similar to what I had continued to build with my service in the Florida National Guard. Build teams and lead those teams on missions. And really in the National Guard side, we do a lot on the domestic side, supporting the governor in times of need, whether in Florida, a lot of times that's hurricane response. So I've always, had that passion to lead and to serve others. And I think that's why I love construction so much, is you're providing a service to others, and especially on the residential side. You're creating something that is a place that people are going to make memories, that become part of their childhood memories, something that parents are affording for children. And then on the roofing side, we're helping them protect the largest investment that they'll make in their lifetime. I mean, most people don't buy something that is more expensive than a home, and the roof is what protects everything on the inside. It's really that tie to service and being able to create a company where people felt empowered and that they were out making a difference. And so that's kind of the genesis behind E Squared. It was my intent, having lived through the recession as an employee that was let go from a company, I wanted to build a recession-proof business. And most people would look at someone that chose to go into construction and say, how on earth can you build a recession-proof construction business? Innately, it's not possible. And I think if you diversify your offerings enough, that you become something that people need in an emergency, that you become something that insurance pays for when a roof is damaged, then you've got the ability to flex some of your product lines and offerings so that when one side of the business might trail off because of another economic downturn, then you still have the other ones to keep you afloat. $4.5 million revenue company, probably 50% of that in roofing. I had already secured our first custom home build, and so I said, okay, on the residential general contracting side, I want to scale that business a little bit higher. That's been pretty exciting to kind of step into that market. But I also took a look at our renovation program, and I said, it's a lot of emotional investment. It might be one of our sexier lines when you completely open up a kitchen and you create this beautiful kitchen, but let's kind of pivot and test ourselves, into the custom home building space. And then roofing for us, I think, just continues to expand. It's interesting in roofing because there's a ton of competition in that space. And I got a message from Google that somebody had written another 5-star review. And one of the things I like to do is I write a personal note to the people that leave us 5-star reviews and say, hey, thanks. You were complimenting my team. You took the effort to do that, and I appreciate it. Because I know myself, right? And I know when I'm looking for a place to go out to eat, or I'm looking for something else, I'm looking at the reviews. It's a roof. Yes, you're going to see it when you drive in. You're going to see it when you drive out, but it's not a kitchen. And so the decision-making process and who you select as your roofer is a little bit different. But the one thing that you want to be able to do is be able to trust someone. They're going to do it correctly. They're going to do it efficiently, and they're going to take care of your property while they're working. And so that's what our last 9 reviews talked to. And so that's the roofing side of the business has taken off for us, and that's pretty exciting. I spent about 10, 12 years working for other construction companies, so I kind of really learned a lot from others. I also looked at the Army. What I realized with construction is, at the end of the day, you want to build a quality product. You want it to, finish on time, and you want the customer to be happy, and you want the financials to be in the correct place so that it, continues to expand the business. So the best way to do that is to align an employee's compensation to that. So our employees are compensated, they have a base salary so they can live, because we want people to be able to live. But then they're hugely financially incentivized based on customer reviews. Does the project finish on time? What is the final gross margin of the job? And they're part of the budget process on the front end. So I really get that buy-in from my project managers on the front end before we sell the job. So then they've created their own starting point, in essence, or at least been part of creating that starting point. And now it's their job to deliver. And we've seen, tremendous feedback from that, because now really the sky's the limit for them. I think it definitely helps on the retention side, because the other thing that we do is, in some of the other larger companies I've worked for, there's a bonus plan. I mean, everybody in construction has a bonus plan, but you'd get it at the end of the year. I decided to do it on a monthly. And, a lot of people are like, gosh, that's a lot of headache that you go through, like closing out projects. And so I kind of tweaked it going into 2020. I said, okay, I'm going to still do a monthly bonus for some. For others, it's going to be, there's going to be either a quarterly or annual kicker. So that way they're tied not just to per project based on being a more senior person in the company. It's not just on project results, it's on what is your division's results. We put goals together as a company at the end of 2019 and said, okay, this is what we collectively did in 2019. So what's realistic that we can shoot for in 2020? And some of our divisions, that those revenue projections stayed the same, some had a slight increase. But again, it's having that employee buy-in, it's part of the process to kind of collectively steer which direction we want to go with the company as a team. Just about a couple months ago, I got a text from a friend of mine who's a mortgage broker I work with, and she's like, hey, do you guys deal with fires? And I said, absolutely. She said, all right, well, my neighbor's house caught fire last night. It's a duplex, and they're just kind of lost as to where to go. Met the homeowner and said, here's the bottom line. It's a very large, daunting insurance task that you have to kind of work through. And just like everybody probably assumes, the insurance is going to try and pay you the least amount of money possible, and you're going to have to come out of pocket to get the home back to its original state. And, we worked with them through that process, and we're doing final walk this Friday. And we will have completely renovated both sides of the duplex, rebuilt the roof, just done a tremendous amount of work. And he only come out of pocket cost was $1,000 for his deductible. So he went from thinking he was going to have to pay potentially tens of thousands, if not over $100,000, to us kind of being that turnkey solution. Everybody has a terrible contractor story. It's like the one profession that everybody has a terrible story about getting ripped off, or, poor workmanship, or project never ending. I mean, everybody has those stories, and it's just not E squared. I mean, we say when we tell you we're going to do something, we're going to do it. When we map out a schedule, that's the schedule. If it changes, we're going to communicate with you. Being respectful of other people, being respectful of their time, being respectful of the commitment financial they've made to you, and saying, okay, we've got a written contract. Here's what you can expect from us. And here's the expectations of what we've put on ourselves. And so being able to be that contractor that at the end, instead of, venting to their friends about their terrible experience, they're leaving us a 5-star review. Probably it's you got to hold on. I mean, we scaled this company significantly. We went from the first year, 167,000 to 1.9 million to 4 million. But my biggest lesson learned has definitely been, okay, just because you're willing to work 7 days a week and send emails at 4 o'clock in the morning and do all these crazy things, you also have to take a step back and say the pace that you operate is not the pace that others operate. What I remind my guys is, the nice thing about being a small business owner is that we are not part of corporate America where you're just stuck with the people that you have to work with. So as I go through the hiring process, I hand select everyone that comes to work at E Squared, and they have to match our values. They have to know it's not going to be easy, but it's exciting to be part of something that's growing. hiring you guys was a game changer, because I will sit here and tell you that I am crazy anal retentive over the financials of our company. And it's like, I've got to let go so that I can focus on other things. I don't need to be doing QuickBooks data entry. It's an incredible amount of time that I've been given back. I mean, I can't tell you how much time you've saved me with job cost accounting. Being able to have those job cost reports have allowed us to close out jobs easier, which allows me to do the bonus calculation, which gets money back into my guy's pocket. There isn't some 45, 60 day lag from a job closing out to when you actually pay bonuses. It becomes much more instantaneous. You know, finding the right people to bring onto your team, whether or not they're full-time employees, but they're the right network of professionals that can incrementally, and we've done that with our accountant, with you guys, with different platforms. That way, I'm making the most out of my time, so that instead of doing like QuickBooks data entry, I'm walking a roof on a Tuesday at 2:00 in the afternoon. You know, stuff like that, where it has a more meaningful impact to my business and to my employees than it does me chained to a computer. So it makes me a lot happier not to be chained to a computer. We look forward to hurricane season to be that partner, that trusted partner, that we're not the fly-by-night seat of contractor that comes in after a storm and chases everyone's work down. We have a very strong relationship with our suppliers, so we're prioritized when all those storm chasers come in. We inspected roofs after hurricanes and other storm events and found no damage. And we've gone down and told the homeowner, hey, that was your complimentary inspection, but you don't have any damage. You know, so our word's very important to us, and we want, you know, I'd rather do the right thing consistently than, you know, take a shortcut, you know, to get one more $15,000 roof and sacrifice our integrity in the process.